Hey guys, welcome back to Dog Forge, and today we're going to be continuing our look at the Spelljammer races with a look at the Autognome, who, spoiler alert, don't really look like gnomes. Let's take a look. So here is our artwork for the Autognomes. They probably peak Spelljammer design. I think they just look like something you'd expect in some space fantasy. They look a little bit like their chest is a furnace, which is kind of fitting. But jumping into the lore, the fluff of the race itself, autonomes are mechanical beings built by rock gnomes. Sometimes, because of a malfunction or a unique circumstance, an autonome becomes separated from its creator and strikes out on its own. An autonome bears a resemblance to its creator, and most autonomes are programmed to speak and understand Gnomish. The internal components used in an autonome's manufacture can vary wildly. One autonome might have been an actual might actually have a beating heart in its chest cavity, while another might be powered by stardust or intricate clockwork gears. So I guess that technically makes you a cyborg, if you do have a beating heart inside of you. Roll on the Autognome history table or choose an entry that you'd like to identify what events set you on the path of adventure. If nothing on the table appeals to you, work with your DM to create an origin story for your character. Like gnomes, autonomes can live for centuries, typically 500 years. So taking a look at that history table. First up, your creator gave you autonomy and urged you to follow your dreams. Your creator died, leaving you to fend for yourself. A glitch caused you to forget your original programming. You don't remember who made you or where you came from. You don't like how you were being treated by your creator, so you ran away from home. You were built to complete a special mission. You felt trapped in the role for which you were built and abandoned your creator, determined to find a greater purpose. So there's a lot of interesting prompts there for why you've become an adventurer. And I think it's fun. It's basically a different take on the Warforged, but for a Spelljammer setting. I'm not entirely sure why gnomes of all things. It just feels like it didn't have to be based on anything else, but who might argue? Ability scores, they're going to get the standard boilerplate of +2 and +1 of their choice, or 3 +1s of their choice. Languages are the same, whilst we read in the lore that a lot of them typically know Gnomish. At the end of the day, you're going to get one common and you're going to know common and one language you and your DM agree is appropriate for your character and the campaign. Coming on down to the interesting things, you are a construct. Now this actually does have some ramifications. So there's a lot of humanoid targeting spells and features that will not affect you, both positively and negatively, and we'll get into that. You are small, no choosing for you. Your walking speed is 30 feet. Armored casing. Your armor gives you an AC of 13 plus dex, equal to a lot of the baselines for this kind of thing, like the lizard folk, and equivalent to mage armor or +1 studded leather. Now this is where things get a little bit crazy. Built for success. You can add a d4 to one attack roll, ability check, or saving throw you make, and you can do so after seeing the d20 roll, but before the effects of the roll are resolved. You can use this trait a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Now, this is kind of nuts. So you get a proficiency number of d4s to throw on any ability check, attack roll, or saving throw you make. So that can affect initiative. But where this gets really crazy is when you start applying other things to it. Now, that's things like Bless or Emboldening Bond from the Peace Cleric would also benefit this. But you can also do things like be a Divine Soul Sorcerer, meaning that if you fail a saving throw, or you want to smack somebody with a Guiding Bolt, you can actually leverage 3d4 to add onto your AC, which in a bounded accuracy system is kind of nuts. That is a very powerful feature, which is probably a good thing, seeing as there's some downsides coming up. Healing Machine. If the Mending spell is cast on you, you can spend a hit die, roll it, and regain a number of hit points equal to the roll plus your Constitution modifier, minimum of 1 hit point. So that's great. You're a construct. Mending, it would make sense if it had an effect on you, and tying it to hit dice rather than just being like, you regain 1 hit point, really cuts off any shenanigans of entirely healing between combat with a cantrip. And in addition, Your creator designed you to benefit from several spells that preserve life but don't normally affect constructs. Cure Wounds, Healing Word, Mass Cure Wounds, Mass Healing Word, and Spare the Dying. Now this is important because those spells specify that they don't do anything to undead and constructs. And this list encompasses most of the main kind of healing spells you'll encounter. Cure Wounds, Healing Word are going to be pulling a lot of the weight for Tier 1, Tier 2, and even beyond sometimes. And Mass Cure Wounds and Mass Healing Word do cover those higher things. However, there are a lot of healing spells that still aren't going to touch you. Heal, the really big burst heal that comes online first, really doesn't affect you. Healing Spirit, Prayer of Healing, I believe both of those also won't affect you. So whilst there are some crazy benefits like Built for Success, and whilst a lot of the healing spells will still affect you, by being an autognome you are locking yourself out of being healed in the same ways that your party members can be healed. And that is a significant disadvantage on top of the other disadvantages of being small. Which is why the rest of this race is pretty powerful. Mechanical Nature, you have resistance to poison damage and immunity to disease. You also have advantage on saving throws against being paralyzed or poisoned. You don't need to eat, drink, or breathe. That's huge. Resistance to poison and the poison condition is... it's always a good feature just because of how common poison is. Immunity to disease is... it doesn't come up in all games, but it is a nice ribbon to have, and it kind of just insulates you from all kinds of trouble. Advantage on saving throws against being paralyzed is just another thing that gets thrown in, but it can entirely neuter the threat of some kinds of monsters. So Mechanical Nature is a pretty powerful effect, and not needing to breathe when you're adventuring in space, kind of an advantage. Sentry's Rest. When you take a long rest, you spend at least 6 hours in an inactive, motionless state. Instead of sleeping, in this state you appear inert, but you remain conscious. So it's similar to how the Warforged works. And Specialized Design, you gain two tool proficiencies of your choice from the PHB. So overall, this is a powerful race, right? You're getting an unarmored AC that is on par with, a first level spell or an uncommon magic item. You're getting an excellent, insulation against bad rolls. You get some great resistance. You get some tool proficiencies for a bit of fluff, basically. And you get a little bit of a ribbon bonus for sleeping. However, there are substantial negatives here with the healing spells on top of being small. This is because you're small, using great weapons, heavy weapons, so heavy crossbows, great swords, great axes, pikes, halberds, that kind of thing, is not really going to be in your wheelhouse, locking you out of that. And because you're not going to benefit from a lot of different healing spells, I would say that the higher level you are, the more trouble you're going to have. Right? It doesn't really matter if you don't benefit from Healing Spirit and stuff in Tier 1 and Tier 2. It's not really that good of a healing spell. And Cure Wounds and Healing Word are going to be far more prevalent. So Tier 1 and Tier 2, and maybe early Tier 3, I don't think that will be an issue. But certainly as your hit point total and the damages go up, and that burst healing becomes more relevant, I think that is going to be far more significant. And I think that an autognome would be best played in a party where there are healing abilities more so than spells, just to give coverage. I don't think, off the top of my head, however I can easily check that, 1 second, I don't think that things like Healing Light or Lay on Hands actually affects but I don't think it cares whether or not you're a certain type. One creature for Healing Light, so that doesn't care, and I don't think Lay on Hands cares either. One creature, yeah, so Lay on Hands, Healing Light, and probably a variety of other healing abilities will still heal you. It's just when you get into spells that things are going to be a bit more unfortunate. So if you're going to play an autognome going into Tier 3 and beyond, will really hope to have a paladin on the team or a celestial warlock just to make sure that you can get the healing that you need. And hey, somebody with a mending cantrip can't hurt, right? But that's what I think overall. I think this is a powerful race, and I think that as long as you don't fall too much into the, the disadvantages that are built in, that this can be an exceptionally powerful choice. Something that you might want to consider off the bat is a dexterity-based archer build, being able to leverage the archery fighting style and sharpshooter. Throwing a d4 onto your sharpshooter rolls can actually greatly increase the success that you have with them. It's only a -5 benefit, right? So adding a d4, which averages as a 2.5, is going to be a significant way of helping ensuring you get that damage when you need it. Similarly, with rogues landing sneak attack, that d4 can be a great help. But what do you think about the autonomes? Let us know in the comments section down below. Do you like them? Do you like that design? What do you think about the not being able to be healed by everything? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Let us know down below. When you're down there, hit that like button, and if you're new to that channel, then subscribe and notification bell as well. It really does help the channel grow. Until next time, I've been Paul, and I'll see you at the Forge.